Hi, my name is Scott Kelly. Not sure if some of you have seen me or worked with me. Haven't really looked at the who's in the class yet, but yeah, I'm starting my last year, probably just like everybody else. My experience in the field, I spent 4 years as a residential counselor at a residential facility treatment facility for adolescent sex offenders. Those who have worked with me or maybe read some of my posts know that I did that for 4 years. And then most recently, when I started my generalist internship, it was called a youth monitor. Basically, I did intakes for youth that were ordered onto electronic monitoring, which is basically they wear an ankle bracelet, and we know where they are and all that. Some were on community monitoring, which is the same rules, but they just don't have an ankle bracelet. It's more of an honor system, making sure they're at where they're supposed to be. A lot of the intakes were just generic, just read the rules of the program. No real one-on-one interaction like I had at the residential facility. It did open my eyes quite a bit to, at least here locally in Portland, or Multnomah County, their views on the juvenile justice system. It's more a holistic approach. They take a lot of the kids' environmental factors into consideration. They're very family focused, keeping the youth with the family. That's why a lot of them are placed on either electronic or community monitoring. I did that from May until just recently. I figured out that wasn't quite what I wanted, so I went ahead and resigned, and then I just recently secured employment at another agency where I'll be a residential counselor working with adults with mental disabilities. So I'm kind of excited for that. Haven't really, like I said, my first 4 years were with adolescents, which is my goal ultimately after securing my MSW. But I like the idea of branching out and working with adults and seeing how that goes. As for my goals of developing into a clinical social worker, the first one really pertains to school in general right now in the present. Just applying, critical thinking and open mind to everything that we're learning and, all the readings, all the videos and whatnot. Don't take anything as concrete. I just finished the first four chapters in our text and discovered, you have to apply a lot of critical thinking when reading about Freud and some of his theories and whatnot. The other thing is, really learning about human behavior and I wouldn't say what makes people tick, but what identifying, deep down what might be troubling them, I guess. A lot of that coincides, with their social and environmental environments and where they're at the present. I was taught a long time ago in residential that for every behavior there's a reason why, and it's usually it's a youth's way of asking for help. They really can't process what is going on, so their behavior tends to be I would say not socially acceptable, but within residential you got to understand that there's a reason behind it and then get into that root cause. And then the other thing is just kind of summarizing everything into one is just understanding where people have come from, especially their early childhood, how they were raised impacts how they grow up. I was raised in an abusive family. Dad was a heavy alcoholic. Luckily, I broke the abusive cycle. Never wanted kids, but I ended up having two stepkids. that was kind of cool, broke that. I was an alcoholic or recovering alcoholic, still am, for 30 years. I'm going on almost 9 years sober. So I've been able to understand that's why some of the reasons why I am, and understanding maybe myself might help understanding other people. I'm white, so getting a real understanding of different cultural aspects of people, how they were raised and what their social economic class and all that. So it's a whole, I'm real big on the environmental ecological approach, I guess. So that's where that comes from. As for opportunities, the first one that comes to mind is just my internship coming up. As a residential counselor, didn't do much clinical work. I ran a few groups, DBT, life skills, etc. But actually didn't really get to sit down and do any real one-on-one therapy type stuff. So I'm using, hopefully, I get into a clinical position to where, I can do some assessments and whatnot. On that side of it, the assessment side, I think that's going to be a challenge for me, getting past the idea that you're labeling someone, I guess. But then putting it in a perspective, from an academic perspective, using what I've learned so far, maybe explaining that to them. The other one is, I'm shy. I tend to be very quiet when I meet new people, so that's a big challenge that I'm currently working through. And the other thing is, when you're dealing with people, is just being overwhelmed and thinking it's too much, and if I'm making a difference, or even if I know what I'm trying to say or do, just building up that confidence and actually working with people. And I was very fearful when I started residential, but over time I realized how I interacted and worked with the youth. Actually, I saw growth in a lot of our past interactions. So that's just a summary. Again, my name is Scott, and it will be a pleasure working with all of you. Bye-bye.